it is my happy privilege to turn the service over to Sister Rose. Please welcome her as she comes.
Well, it's good to be here this morning. We're happy for you to be here this morning. I tell you, you couldn't have been in a better service to hear this message. You need to hear this. This goes to everybody. Some folks think they saved and some ain't. Yes. But anyway, if you have your Bibles, turn with me to St. Matthew, the 7th chapter. Father, we're grateful this morning for your blessings. You've done so much for us. We don't have enough words to say thank you. But we appreciate you and who you are, and for your presence and for your strength, for loving me when I was unlovable, for giving your life for me when I wasn't even worth it. Thank you, God, because you died for a lost world, and many of them reject you to this day. I pray, God, that your divine and perfect will would be done. We come against every spirit and every power. I pray that you might be glorified as only you can, and we'll give you glory and honor. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. The 13th verse says, "Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, narrow is the way, which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns, or figs of thistles? Even so every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit." My message is not coming from there, but coming from enter in at the strait gate. There's a way to get to heaven, and it means you just cannot do what you want to do to get there. It's not our thing. It's not what you want to do, how you feel about it, whether you think it's good or bad, or whether you think you agree or disagree, don't even matter. Once God put it in the word for us, he said, enter ye in at the strait gate. The strait gate is the narrow place. It doesn't give you room to sin. It doesn't give you room to just let it all hang out. It just doesn't do that. Everybody wants to let it hang out. So we don't want you to go to the club, let your hair down, they used to say in my day. I don't know if that still exists now. They say, we went to the club, girl, and let our hair down. And we let it down long enough and got stupid and left the club feeling stupid. I never was a partier, so I was with the group that was partying. My sister, my husband was then my boyfriend. They were all just seemed like they was having such a good time, and I was looking like, if I die right now, I'm going to hell. And all these people in here just, the floor show is going on, and they're smoking. It was so much smoke in that place, it reminded you of hell. It was just foggy. I never been out to a club like that before because my grandmother raised us really, really strict. And I went to the club that night because my sister was going, my boyfriend was going, and I just don't fit in here. And I remember sitting there around 3 o'clock to have what they call a floor show back in the day. Y'all probably say, what is that? You won't understand. So they get to dancing, and the musicians are playing the music and all that, and they got the booze sitting on the table, and I'm sitting there thinking, I need to get out of here. And so my sister was going to say, Rose, let it go, girl, let it go. I thought, I can't let it go. I mean, what do you want me to let go? I don't even understand what you're talking about. And Charles at the time, he was beating the table, he was drinking booze and hitting the table, just a fool. And so finally all this hoopla got over with, and I was so glad because I thought if I don't get out of here, I'm going to hell if I die in here. So when we went outside, I couldn't believe it. It was daylight. I'd never in my whole life ever been anywhere all night and come the next morning. And I looked, I said, it's daylight out here. We went in there, it was dark. But now it's daylight. But when I began to understand that I had to have more in my life than just that club, I had to have more than all this noise and hoopla and all this stuff. It just wasn't doing it. Just wasn't doing it. So I found out What do I need to do? I need to go down and find the straight gate. And get in there and see a straight. It's not just S-T-R-A-I-G-H-T, it's S-T-R-A-I-T, which simply means it's very narrow and restricted way. Churches don't like that. I don't want to be restricted. I want to be able to do my thing. I want to curse, lie, get drunk, and everything else, and then come to church on Sunday morning and say, well, praise God. That's not going to work for you. That won't work. It's more than Sunday morning. It's more than just going to church. It's about what happens in your heart between you and God. So he said, go to the straight gate. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. How is it that so many people would choose the wide gate? Because then I don't have to be considered, I don't have to be concerned about whether or not I fit in or not. Hey, I'm trying to keep it. When you follow the straight gate, it puts you like this. If you're a woman, you ever wore a girdle before? I would hope every woman that needs it would wear one. So you put that girdle on, it's going to restrict you. I mean, I put my girdle on Sunday morning. This is years ago when I was about almost 300 pounds. I was eating everything under the sun and cooking everything under the sun. The Lord woke me up one day and said, you need to change this. So I changed it. But when you put that girdle on, come to church on Sunday morning, you've done a lot of squeezing to get in it anyway already, weighing that much. So, but don't go home after church. We done cooked candied yams. We got greens. We got macaroni and cheese. We got pork chops, chicken, cornbread, potato salad. You name it, all that horrible food that you had no business eating. Now, you try getting in that girdle after you put that in there. So by the time you get ready to come to church on Sunday night, and you're standing in front of a fan, because you sweating or you sweat. So you stand in front of the fan and you try to pull it up and hold on a minute, get me in the back. So my daughter would help me because I'm trying to get in this girl, and it's Sunday night, and you done ate all this food. Now you trying to go back to church, bless your heart, and you can't praise God because you don't want to shout because you can't breathe. It's a mess. It's a mess. That's the way it is when you're walking with God, but this is a good straight. It don't make you miserable. It don't let you get the wrong thing, eat the wrong thing, do the wrong thing, go to the wrong places. No. None of that. This is a straight right. I love this way. You know why? Because it's a life that makes you happy every day. It's a life that makes you fulfilled. It's a life that you say, wow, this is great. And it's not just on a holiday. It's every day of the week. Yes. This is a great life, people. Don't let nobody tell you serving God, what are you going to do? Isn't that a boring life? No, you're the one that have a boring life. That's why you keep going back to the booze. That's why you keep doing the drugs. You're bored. So you're looking for that high. We got a high every day. Every day this is a high. Yes. I'm having a great time. I don't know about you. You say, well, I don't know, she seems happy. No, I don't just seem, I am. It passes the seem point. So he said, now if you enter at the straight gate, there's a lot of benefits. You're going to be happy and excited about serving God. And every day you get up, it's a new day with him. He's never boring because with him there's new things all the time. In the world, we have the same old. And you get up or you go to the club, or if they go to the club sometime, I just didn't go because I didn't fit in anyway. I tried to smoke. I decided not to try to inhale it because I figured I wouldn't get it back out. And it was a mess. It was a mess. And when I found the straight way and got on that path, boy, my life has been rich and full ever since. It's not a part-time thing. This thing is real every day. And you know that no matter matter what may come your way, that God is in control of your life. He's going to take care of you. He's going to protect you. And all these good things happening in your life. Yes. But he said, broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. And most people get on that road. Most people. Let me tell you, maybe 90% of the people in the country and throughout the world get on the broad road. They don't want God. They don't want, that's the best life in the world, but they don't want that. Well, you know, I like to let it all hang out. You can hang out with Jesus too. But you don't leave in no bad fix. I mean, you're in a good condition, really. So he said, but broad is the way, and that leadeth to destruction, and many that's going to follow that road. Most people here this morning, few people are saved. We have some people here that think you're saved, but you're not. So I'm sitting on the pew out there, you know, I believe I'm a Christian. That don't make you a Christian because you believe it. It won't make me white because I get up here this morning and say, I believe I'm white. I'm black no matter how you look at it. Same way it is with serving God. You are what you are. You are what you are. But he said, so many people going down that broad road because that leaves me room to do whatever I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. I don't have to answer to anybody. Straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth to life. That's where you start living at. When you get on that narrow road, that's where life is. That's what makes a difference in your life. So listen to this. He said, but few there be that find it. Every now and then there's a traveler on this road. Because people say, I don't want into that God stuff. You better get into the God stuff. The stuff you call God stuff is the thing that changes your life. It makes a difference whether you're going to heaven or you're going to hell. One or the other, so I better get on the right road. Find out where it's at. Every church today won't tell you where it's at because they're not on it either. We got churches full of people that's going to church. They're church goers, but they're not Christians. There's a difference. Christians are faithful to the house of God. Christians pray every day. Christians push the plate back and fast and seek the face of God. Yes. So he said, there's going to be a few people that find it. And I asked you this morning, what road are you on? Are you on the broad road or the narrow road? Because the broad road allows you to commit sin as much as you want. Do anything you want. Talk about people. Run people down. Do anything you want to on the broad way. But on the narrow way, I treat my neighbor right. I love people. I'm not racist. I love people black, white, red, or yellow. It doesn't matter. We all, at some point in our life, have been convictors or convictions in our life. We became a convict of sin. That's where we were. Every person at some point in time in your life have been a convict. You say, I'm not a convict. Sister, what are you talking about? Just because you ain't stole nothing and beat nobody up don't mean you're not a convict. You're a convict because we're born in sin. Every person here this morning is born in sin. We got to get out of that and get on the straight path, and God has made it possible for us to get on the straight path if we want to. So when I look at that, I'm saying convicts are people that break the law, and these are people that break the law of God as well. They break his law daily, do what they want to do. They go to church, they hear the word, say, you know, I don't believe in all that. Some of you leave here this morning and say, you know, I don't really agree with her. Don't need you to. The bottom line is, it's about what God has said. And I can like that, I can not like it, I can just get rid of it, or I can keep it. It's your choice. But you better understand, if you're not saved and you haven't been born again, you're a convict. Because you're committing sin. You're breaking the law of God every day. Not just sometime, every day. So listen to this. You know, we have a tendency in our society, and from the time I was a young girl and felt like I need to get away from my grandmother and live my life because she was old fogey anyway. She didn't have a clue what was going on in the world. She told me to stay away from boys. I'm trying to figure out, well, why do I have to do that? Stay away from boys, Rose. Well, all the girls, everybody I was running with was with the boys. I'm an oddball. Stay away. Don't run with people that's not going anywhere. Choose the people that you're with. I got so tired of hearing all those rules. Well, I'm going to leave home. I left home when I was 16 years old. I thought, I'm out of here. She had put my uncle on the door to block me from going out that day because I waited for everybody to leave because when they left, I thought, I'm out of here. I need to live my life, I said, like a fool. And left. I wasn't away from home but a short period before I discovered everything she told me was true. The things she told me about boys were true. They're liars. They're crooks. They'll tell you anything if they can get you in the bed. And the sad thing about that, most time they get you in the bed. I was scared to death. I didn't know nothing about the world. I had never been out there. Scared to death. Remember meeting my husband. I was 16, he was 21. Bad news. Bad news. But I fell in love with him first time. They don't have that anymore. People say, I'm in love, but they're really not in love. But the first time I seen him was in his dad's barbecue place. I went back there to get me some barbecue, and he was standing behind a dark screen, and I fell in love with what I saw behind that screen. And everybody kept saying, Rose, you don't know what love is. Yes, I do. I love him. Everybody told me that. You don't know what it is. You don't understand. I love him. You don't even know him. I love him. My heart's beating a mile a minute. I love this man. What are y'all talking about? And Rose, it's sophistication. It's infatuation. I said, no, this is love. My sister came to me. She said, Rose, you don't know what love is? I said, oh, yes, I do. I love that man. Everybody said, that's not true. But I did love him. It lasted for 35 years. So it wasn't. But the thing about it, I loved him, but he was a player. Why are we always attracted to players? I mean, the nice guys that go to school, get their education, whatever, we don't want them. He's a nerd, we call him. It's a nerd. My husband was good looking. You see his picture on your way out and you understand what I'm talking about. And good looking, beautiful white teeth, perfect lips. I thought, wow, this man. Had never been kissed, never been with the opposite sex, never. I'd have no clue what's going on out there. But I thought, I know I love this man. So they were getting ready to go that night to play, to do the races at the horse track. And my sister was going, and I was supposed to watch her kids. And I said, well, can Charles go up there with me at the house? He said, yeah, I'll go. I don't know what I'm getting into. So he comes up to the house. We sitting on the couch, and I'm talking. I just love this man. And he said to me, and I could have resented him for it. And he said, Rose, I think you're a nice girl, but if I mess with you, they'll throw me in jail, put me in jail and throw the key away. I said, let them throw it away. Stupid! You're not getting it, girl. You're not getting it. This is an old man compared to your age. This is old here. I didn't understand. I didn't know what it's all about. But I knew one thing. I loved him, and for some reason I wanted to be with him. So I said to him, could you kiss me? I've never been kissed before. He said, I'll kiss you, but that's going to be it. Sure enough, he said he stuck to it. He said, I'm not doing it. And I thought, wow. I got kissed, and I was cross-eyed, and I couldn't see good. I was, whoa. If that's a kiss, do that to you? My God, this is over the top. Just a kiss. But he was a real kisser. A real kisser. But you know what? I realized what I was searching for was love because we came from a broken family. My mom was declared an unfit mother. They took all of us away from my dad, and my dad had the boys, and my grandmother had the girls. There was 8 of us. And it was sad. I wanted to know, what does it feel like? I believe my grandmother loved me, but she wasn't an affectionate person. She didn't hug you and come in and give grandmother a kiss. She didn't do all that stuff. But I knew she loved me. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people. We're looking for stuff in the wrong places. We're looking for love. We're looking for somebody to make us feel like we have some self-worth. It ain't found in people, because people tell you a bunch of lies, but he never lies to you. He's good to you. He loves you every day. And on the straight path, you don't have to worry about being hurt. You don't have to worry about being disappointed. Yes. Understand this. Your life will change forever when you get on the straight path. I did it 54 years ago. I gave my life to the Lord at 20 plus years. I've never regretted it. I found the right path, I got on it, and I stayed on it. I wasn't swayed. I wasn't, well, maybe I'll make it. No, I knew I was going to make it. I found what I was looking for. Charles couldn't love me like that. He could love me, but not like that. The love that Jesus gives you is beyond all loves on this planet. It is the love that goes so deep inside of you, it fills every void in your life. There is nothing left there but just good love. And only God can do that for you. Because he knew why I was unhappy. He knew why I was trying to find. I'm looking for somebody who loves me. And show me you love me. And let me tell you, they don't really exist. Because man is about himself. At the end of the day, your husband, your wife, and everybody, they're about themselves. Whatever they do for you, they're expecting something in return. But when you come to God, God is saying, come here, I want to love you. I want to fix your life. I want to put the pieces back together again. I want to fix you. And he did that. This morning, if you're sitting here and you're on the wrong road, think about it. Sin is the wide road. Sin is the road that takes you to hell. Sin is the road that you can't get off of unless God gets you off. You got to find the right place. Where's the right place for me? This ain't working for me. How many of us have come to a point in time in our life that it wasn't the right place? We knew it wasn't, but we still wouldn't let it go. We knew this joker wasn't no good. He was a liar and a crook, and we still held on to him. We knew that woman would never make us a wife, but we hung with her anyway. Understand something. When you're looking for something, you better be sure you're looking in the right place. Otherwise, you're going to get lost. You're going to get lost, and you feel like, what do I do? I ended up marrying my husband very young, and he fell in love with me. We had 7 children. I had a lot going for me. He was in the military. We traveled. And I remember being unhappy. Why am I unhappy? I'm with the man that I fell in love with. I've had his children. We're traveling. Well, I still feel a void. You may be sitting here this morning and say, well, I got so many things in my life. Why do I feel this emptiness in here? God fills that place. You know what's wrong with man? Man is constantly trying to put people and situations and things in their life, in that void in their life. They're trying to fill it with booze, with drugs, and all this stuff. It'll never be able to fill that place because it's reserved for God. That's a place that God has put in all of us that is reserved for him. And when we try to put other things in that place, it never works. It never works. You always end up with the same thing. She always just come home and say, honey, what's wrong? I don't know. I'm just unhappy. I'm sad. Why are you sad? I don't know. But I'm sad. I feel depressed. I don't know why I'm depressed until I found the straight path. When I found that straight gate, let me tell you, there was no more depression. I don't care how many people tell you that Christians, they get depressed, and they're not a real Christian if they do. Because when you serve God, there is no room for depression. There is no room for it. Under no circumstances. I'm not depressed. I'm happy. I'm not empty. I'm fulfilled. You can have that this morning. You may be sitting by your husband or your boyfriend or girlfriend, whoever. They'll never feel that hole. It's too big. The only person that can fill it is God. We're trying to do it with our children. The children won't do it either. Family won't do it. Friends, you got to have God. But he makes the difference. Stay on the straight and narrow. Keep going forward. What we do, we get on the broad path, and that path allows us to look to the left, to the right, behind us all the time. When you get on the narrow path, you only have one vision, one focus right here. It's ahead of you. This is what I got to have in my life. I found out my grandmother was truthful. If I have to ask you a question this morning, could you answer it? And say, you know what, Sister Rose, I never gave it much thought whether I was on the wrong path or the broad path or the narrow path. I never really thought about it. Think about it this morning. Because if you're on the broad path, if you die right now, you're going to hell. Because only sin is on there. Only sin. So I think you got to understand. We always want to be like everybody else. What's everybody doing? It's what we say. Well, everybody's doing it. Everybody's going to hell. The larger the crowd, the more likely they're going to hell. The people that are following God, they're few. They say, yeah, that's not for me. Hell will be for you one day. See? Listen to what it says. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, for they shall soon be cut off down like the grass and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord. Do good, so shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord. He shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust in him. He shall bring it to pass. He shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for him. Fret not thyself because of him who prospereth in his way, because the man who bringeth wicked devices to pass. He said, why are we looking at these people? Well, they ain't serving God. Look how they got this and they got that. That's not what makes you happy. Things don't do happiness. That's what you got to come to the realization. Things will not make you happy. Well, I got a new car, I got a new home, I got a good job, and I make good money, and I'm putting money here. That's not happiness. Happiness is when I have nothing, and I'm still happy because I got God. Yes. When me and Charles got married, there was nothing to be, say, well, we're moving into our own place. We was in the projects, baby. If you ever lived in the projects, you know what I'm talking about. That's where people shoot people in daytime. That's when they do drugs day and night. There is no real role model in the projects of St. Louis, Missouri. There's nothing there. So there's nobody there for me to fret and say, well, look what they got. They're all poor just like we were. But it's something about people. When we see people with a lot of money or possessions of this life, we say, you know, I would be happy if I had that. I'd be happy if this was going that way in my life. No. Why they shoot themselves? Why do they overdose? If that was happening, why do we have stars that take their own life? Way back years ago, there was a guy named Freddie Prinze. He had a show, I can't think of the name of it. Chico and the Man, yeah. He moved up so fast up the ladder. See, God takes us at a gradual speed because we got to adjust at each level. But the devil pushes you to the top and then he knocks you off of it. So Freddie Prinze, he went up so fast. And his show was extremely popular. He was making money all over the place. But one day he sat on his couch. He said he was depressed. How do you depress you? Here's what the world says. You got everything. If you don't have God, you don't have everything. It's impossible. And he sat there on the couch that day, had the gun up under the pillow on the couch. Sitting there, no doubt, trying to sort his life out. Where am I? Why am I so unhappy? All the things I thought would make me happy is not making me happy. He reaches under the pillow and blows his brains out. Everybody was shocked. He had everything. No, he didn't. One thing he didn't have was God. If you can get all the world can offer you, money, material things, everything, and wake up depressed every single day. But yeah, but I've never had the chance to have it. Let me tell you, take it from somebody who's been down all the roads, the really difficult time when there was nothing there. Me and Charles got married, we didn't even have a chair to go with our table. We had one of them little white enamel tables with metal legs on it, and it had no chairs. I was happy as a lark. I was Miss Banks, boy, that's all that counted. We didn't have no money. You go in my bedroom, there was a bed. Where's the dresser? We don't have one. Where you put your clothes, fold them on the floor in the closet. Nothing. Happy? You couldn't have made me sad if you tried. I said to Charles, I want a ring. I always liked rings my whole life. I want a ring. Charles never did buy me a ring. He went to Korea. I said, honey, when you come back, bring me a ring back with you. He said, okay. He brought me some pajamas back that was too little. One of my legs wouldn't have fit in it. You know, you've been over there in Korea with them little Korean women. I can't wear they pajamas. I said, honey, I wanted a ring. I didn't get the ring. I got married with with a ring that I got out of a bubble gum machine. Honey, I was happy as a lark. And what we did in the day to keep it from turning colors on you, you take some clear nail polish and paint it so you got it where you could put it in water and it wouldn't turn green and black and all them colors. And me and Charles got married in my sister's bedroom. She was in the bed with the flu. And on top of that, I had on my sister's dress. I was a size 10, her dress was a 20. I wrapped it around, tied it up with a belt, happy as a lark. I'm becoming Miss Banks, that's all that matters. These people now want, well, what can he do? You know, I think the joke ought to have something. My husband didn't have anything, but I loved him anyway. And we got married, and Reverend Newsom, I'll never forget, he was our pastor, and he said, do you have a ring? I said, sure. Pulled out the bubble gum machine ring. By this time, it's turned kind of greenish black, and I handed it to him. And he said, okay. I thought, I'm happy. Take that ring, put it on my hand. It was okay, bubblegum machine ring. That was nice. And he put it on my hand, said, you may now kiss your bride. I was in seventh heaven. Nothing mattered. Got me a bubblegum machine ring. Don't know where I'm going. Don't know where I'm going to live at. We ain't even got a place to live yet. We're in my sister's house. Unbelievable. But you know what? It lasted better than these people who spend millions of dollars on weddings. Yes. Spend all that money getting married and then divorce in a month or two. They don't even change names in Hollywood because they're not going to stay married that long. So they just keep their regular names. I changed mine to Rose Banks. I was Miss Liddell at first. That was my maiden name, Liddell, and now I'm Banks, and I'm proud of it. Yeah, but still something missing. I went for a few years trying to make it just me and Charles. This is what I always wanted. I'm very happy. But what is that sadness in there? It's all over this room this morning, right down in there, that sadness. I don't know why. You take me to dinner, it doesn't change it. You buy me a home, it doesn't change it. You get me a new car, it doesn't change it. I get a new job position where I'm making the money I always wanted to make, it doesn't change it. Because after you get it all and have it, at that point, it's not what's happening. I remember Charles and I went on vacation a few years before he died, and I never did like to travel. I hated traveling to this day. And I came back home after we left the hotel, and I walked in the house, and I had what most people probably would want to have. It was beautiful. I was a designer myself. It was beautiful. But I remember coming down the steps one morning, and I looked around, and I thought, boy, all this is so pretty. And I looked up to God, I said, but if I didn't have you, what would happen? None of this stuff, it can't hug me. It never says to me, Rose, I love you. What do? God, thank you for being in my life. Thank you for all the material things, but that's not where it's at. I gotta know you're here for me every day. I gotta know somebody really loves me beside Charles. I gotta have fulfillment. It's not in any person, it's not in any situation. It's in him. That's where life is. That's where the straight gate puts you in a place where you can live right. I was a very mean person. I was bitter at the world. Nobody could tell me why. Very sad. I understood I had to have more than what I had in my life, and it was God. When I found him, I said, I'm never turning him loose. And 53 years ago, I gave my life to Jesus, and I stayed with it. I told my husband, you know what, honey? I always made you number one in my life, but now God's number one Everybody else is second. Nobody's going to take his place. You know what's wrong with man? He always fills his life with other people, and God's at the back of the line. I don't have him there, so I just got what I need right here. No, put him in the front. Everything in your life works better. Everything works for you. And everything that you do, it works for you if he's at the front of your life. He's the center of my life. He's the reason I'm happy today. Charles died 25 years ago, suddenly with a brain aneurysm. And I remember looking up to God thinking, if I hadn't had him in my life, would I have survived that? It didn't seem possible. But because God was there to comfort me, to strengthen me, to keep his arms around me, loving me in spite of. I preached his funeral that morning. I got up and I went downstairs to the desk and I sat there and I started a message that I was going to preach at his funeral. And I said to the Lord, all I want to do today is make you proud of me. I've been preaching and telling people that you're there for them, no matter what they go through in their life, what they face. I must represent that today. The happiest day of my life was the day I preached his funeral. A sadness and a happiness. And I meant to be strong. We don't find many strong people anymore. And I remember the mortician said, Rose, I'll set a chair at the head of the casket, because every time I preach a funeral, I'm standing at the head of the casket while the family come around. And he said, I'll put a chair. I said, no, I don't need a chair. He said, are you sure? I said, yeah. I got God. He's going to help me. If I could stand for everybody else, I can stand today. I can stand today. And I stood that day and kind of shocked the mortician, because they usually know everything you're going to do, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But when I got through preaching the funeral, I went down to the casket, and I bent over the casket, and I talked to my husband. And I said to him, I'm going to miss you. I'll never love anybody more than I loved you. And let me tell you something. You married a lady, and I'll be a lady to the day I die. If you're not here, there's nobody else for me. I was 49 years old when he passed away. I am to be 75 in 1 month. And I determined that my life is going to be full of God. And I'm going to do my part in ministry. And I'm going to help other people find God the way I found him. I want to help them to help you to find the straight and the narrow. Because you're on the wrong road. That's why you're not doing good. That's why everything seems dark and dreary. That's why it seems like you can't win. You're on the wrong road. If I can help you to find that path, to get on that path, oh my God. You say, Sister Rose, I wish I'd have met you before now, because nobody ever made me see that God can make that much of a difference in my life. Because we always try to portray Jesus as a dull thing and it's boring and there's nothing to do. No, he is everything. He is everything. He said, thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak or side with the majority to prefer justice. So quit going after people, all these people doing this together. This is the style now. This is what we do. You don't have to be like everybody else. You know one thing that made me different in my life? I never wanted to be like somebody else. I was always wanting to be different. Not many people want to be different. People want to be like somebody. The only person I want to be like is him. And he's perfect. That's who I want to be like. So don't follow a crowd to do wrong. You go down the wrong path, get involved in the wrong stuff with the wrong people. What a horrible way to live your life. Don't do something just because everybody else is doing it. You see people put on styles change. Black people with afros and cake cutters in their head. I thought it was the dumbest thing I ever seen. What are you doing with a cake cutter? In your head. And hair this big. I said, God, I don't want to be like that. And I was telling my son that because he was always running with the wrong people. My oldest son. I said, get with people that's going somewhere. Get friends in school that's making straight A's. Quit hooking up with the F people. You do it, they're going nowhere. They have no desire to do anything or go anywhere. He always wanted to run with the bums. He always wanted to run with the people that was flunking out. He came home one day and brought his report card and said, Mama, here's my report card. I said, you flunked. You know what he said? I flunked? Yes, stupid, you flunked. You know why? You run with the people that make F's. They're not concerned about A's. I used to tell my kids, the lowest I'm going to take from you is a B. I expect you to make an A or a B. Don't bring me a C. Because I know you can do it if you want to do it. Let's excel in life. We want to excel for all the wrong reasons. Let's excel because I want to be a help to somebody else. Some of the things that's happened in people's lives is who they hooked up with. It's who they ran with. It's who they married. You got to stop for a minute and say, wait a minute, what do I want to do with my life? I want God to be number one in my life because I can do anything with him. I can go through any situation if I got God. If I don't have him, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. You don't want to follow the multitude. Multitude is so many people that you cannot count them. Don't follow a multitude to do wrong. Do you know what this scripture says? It says hell is enlarging itself. Hell, where the place where man goes when he rejects God. He said it is enlarging itself, opening its mouth without measure because so many people are going to hell. Isn't that horrible? So God, when he created hell, he really made it for the devil and his angels. But because you chose to serve him and his angels, he said, okay, you're going to go to hell, be with him then. So what he did when he created hell, he caused it to be created in a sense that it would automatically expand to accommodate all the people that's coming there. Do you want to be one of those people? Not me. That's an eternal damnation. That's eternal fire. That's eternal agony. That's eternal suffering. Who would want to choose to go to hell instead of going to heaven? Oh, no, no, no. No. He made a way for me to escape it. Why would I go? I'm not going there. He fixed it, said, look, I got a way out for you, Rose. I'll change your life. I'll make you happy. I'll fulfill your life. You'll become what I want you to be. God destined me to be who I am today. And no man, woman, boy, or girl anywhere could put me where I am right now. Because God brought me here. Yes. Just a few people going to be saved. A few people going to heaven. Most people are going to hell. And it's making room for you. It's making room for some of these mega churches with all these people and preachers are lying to them, not telling them the truth. Making room for them, for the preachers that lie to God's people, who don't speak the truth and direct them down a good path. In this church, I'm going to take a moment to try to help you to avoid that place and get to heaven if it's at all possible. I want to be sure that you don't go there, that you understand there's a way out. Let's go it together. Let's join hands, me, you, and God, and we can make it together. We can make it together. You don't want to miss it. If you miss it, you can't fix it. Anybody that already died, whatever they were, however they lived, that's what they are on the other side. Sad, sad. I listened to Julie this morning and how God brought her to this church and how it changed her life. She wasn't married to Ron when they came here. Ron wasn't coming to church. He's a big old guy. Hey, Ron, I don't see him. There he is. And she came to the church by herself. I didn't know she wasn't married to him. They were living together. But she kept coming. She got saved. And then she invited Ron to come to church. And Ron came to church. I said, now y'all need to get married. You just can't keep having sex for free. You just can't do that. You got to get married. You said, what is that? That's when people come together according to the word of God and they become married people. The bed is honorable. Marriage is honorable. The bed's undefiled. Whoremongers and adulterers. Whores, whoremongers. God said, I'm going to judge you. Keep on having sex outside of marriage. If you die like that, you're done. But they came in and they gave their heart to the Lord. Ron got saved. He's a preacher now. See, God changed their life. Yeah. They happy. She's saying this morning, thank God that my mom didn't make it or my sister didn't make it. What is it that God let me make it? Thank you for bringing me to this place. Thank you for helping me to have a mind to want to serve you. To live for you, to take out the hatred and put in love. Help me to realize I cannot make it by myself. I need somebody to help me. And since he's there to help me, I don't have to walk it alone. I don't have to walk it alone. Every man that striveth for the mastery is temporal in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we are incorruptible. So he said everybody that's trying to win the gold or win a silver medal or whatever they win when they go to the Olympics, he said they strive hard. I read a book about one of the Williams sisters. I think it was Serena. And she talked about the sacrifice she had to make to become a world tennis person that excelled in tennis. Her book was sad, but it also told you how much time she put in to become the best. We don't want to put in time to become God's best. We say, ain't nobody going to be perfect. They perfect when they go up there and win that gold. Oh, yes, they strive for perfection. Perfection lets you win. Perfection lets you become an athlete with the goal. You don't just go up there and say, okay, hey, I'm going to the Olympics looking like a blimp and think that you're going to run track. You're not going to run track and make it. You might look at the track. That's as far as you're going. You got to spend some time. And as Serena was talking about how she loved donuts, and she said, I would in California, I go to this one donut place. I love donuts, and I just eat those donuts. But when it's time to go so I can train, no more donuts. So he said, if they strive for the mastery and they say, I can't do that no more. I can't eat that kind of stuff. I got to change that. How true is that for God? He said, that's a corruptible crown. That's not even going to last. But for us, we're striving for the crown that's eternal. We got to be willing to do what we got to do. So I'm going to give 100% to God. This church fasts and pray a lot. Let me say fast. They don't nearby pray the way they should. If I said, the first time I ever heard this from a person that I asked, how's your prayer life, is my friend Matt. This is what he told me. He said, decent. How do you have a decent prayer life? Either you got a good prayer life or you don't have one. Decent? I went in my room, I kept thinking, decent. What does that mean? How do you relate that to prayer? I couldn't get it. It just didn't make sense. I have a decent prayer life. But when you have a real prayer life, I spend hours in prayer. I love it. You know why? I'm talking to the one that I love the most. More than my children, more than my husband, more than all the things in this world. I love it. Prayer, fasting, seeking God, that's the joy of my life. Coming to this pulpit to preach to you this morning when I was sick as a dog all last week. I was at church last night. I said, well, I won't see y'all in the morning. I am sick as a dog. I laid in the bed and thought how the devil tried to steal that message. I thought, well, you about a liar. Let me get out this bed. I need to go to church. For whatever reason, you never wanted this message to be preached because God knows who's going to be here today. He knows who needs this. He knows the people that's got this void in their life and they need God. You need to tell these people. So if I could just say, okay, I didn't sleep all night. I laid in the bed, looked at it because I got a clock that reflects on the ceiling. And every time I thought, quit looking at the ceiling. 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I thought, let me get up here and get ready for church. Now, I'll call some hogs this afternoon. But hey, I had to go to church. You know why? Because God knew you was going to be here. I don't know who you are. So this message came for people in this room. They're saying God is speaking to you. You'll never forget this message. You can live 100 years. You'll never forget it. Because you're either on the straight and narrow or you're on the broad and wide. And so I must get that message out because I don't never know when this is your last time. You may not never be able to go to church again. This may be it. I better get there and get this message out. I can sleep anytime. I'm used to not getting a lot of sleep. It's part of life. If I sleep straight 6 hours, wow. I get up thinking, woo, boy, I had a good night's sleep, 6 hours. I never sleep 8 because you know what? I got to pray. That's what you don't want to do. You don't want to pray. I get up in the morning, I got devotion for an hour and a half. Study the word, praying. Then get up, work out. Noontime, back in prayer. You spend more time thinking about what you're going to eat next. Now, we had breakfast. What are we going to have for lunch? Yeah. But what time is it? So what are we going to eat for dinner? Where's my in-between snack? You know how much time is spent just getting mentally preparing yourself for food? You say, there ain't no problem for me. I seem to be able to do it okay. I'm doing great. No. The first time I walked in this church and said to the church last year or year before, the Lord said food is irrelevant. Everybody in the church looked at me like, what is she talking about, irrelevant? So I was so sick last week, I got past maybe a bowl of soup each day. A little Jell-O, some yogurt. And my daughter, so Saturday, she fixed me, first time I ate something all week was, she fixed me scrambled eggs and applesauce and some toast. I didn't even leave a crumb. She came back, she said, you found out food is relevant, didn't you? But I figured I got to get something in me. I am so weak, I can't hardly make it. My legs are shaking. I got to get something in me. And they just love that. Said, it's relevant, isn't it, Mama? For the moment. For the moment. See, I eat very little. So when they come to serve me, they said, Mama, this is a child's portion. Good. Don't get adult portions. It's too much. You really do think it takes a lot, but when you really become disciplined, you find out it don't take that much. The stuff we used to eat is wonder if we weren't dead by the time we finished the last fork. It's like, are you still breathing? But when the Lord turned my life around and said, it covers everything. It covers how you eat. It covers everything you do. Working out, doing the things that's needful for you to be healthy. So last week was the first week in a long time that I hadn't worked out all week, and I felt trouble. I wanted to work out, but I didn't have no strength. I was tired, worn out, and I hated it. I hated that I can't move. I got to get out of this. Today, I feel better than I felt the entire week. Yes. You got to strive. You got to push hard. You got to say, hey, it's worth it. To get to heaven, it's worth it. See? Some people are not going to make it because they're not willing to do what they have to do. God gave people in Noah's day 120 years to get right, and they still didn't get right. At the end of the day, 8 people were saved when God sent the flood to cover the whole earth. 8 people. But the preacher preached for 120 years, and people said they didn't believe it. Never had rained on the earth before. Therefore, they didn't believe it. But it came. They lost out. See? They're indifferent. Some people say, I'm not going to worry about it. You better worry about it. You're going to die. What are you going to do with your life? Where are you going? After this life is over, I don't care what preacher stands over your casket and preach about you. They can't put you in the kingdom. He may tell lies upon lies, tell you what a great person you was, but you in hell burning right now. Think about it this morning. I need to give God 100%. I need to change my life. Sister Rose is telling the truth. Maybe I could be happy like her if I did that. You can be. It's a great life. It gets better every day. How can you do something anytime for 50-something years and still be as happy as the day, or even happier than the day you started? Our musicians and singers, would you please come? If you're sitting there this morning, you say, Sister Rose, I need what you're talking about. I need to get my life in order. I need to say yes to God. I need to let go of all the things that I have once held as important in my life. Get rid of those things.
See, I'm glad that man He didn't make the sunshine. For he may not let it shine on me. Oh, see, and I'm glad, man, didn't let the raindrops fall. 'Cause one of these days, he forget to water the grain. Oh, and that's why I'm glad that man, he didn't make me. Oh, Lord, 'cause he was surely, one day he surely destroyed